Hey, this is Brother Teacher. Now, we cut right to the chase. Everyone that knows me from this channel know that one of the subjects or the key subjects that I hone in on from time to time, and probably more so than not, and probably more than some people would think that I should, is the subject of Bruce Lee. What can I say? I talk about a lot of things: health and wellness, diet and exercise and fitness, and martial arts being inclusive, along with many other subjects. But I'm going to touch on Bruce Lee again in this particular video, and about his contributions in the martial arts, as opposed to people trying to label him as just simply an actor and not a martial artist. So I have 6 reasons why Bruce Lee is a martial artist, and why he's known as a martial artist and not simply an actor. So we began here. I'm reading my list. The first reason why Bruce Lee is actually a martial artist is because he has published at least 5 books on martial arts and fighting. Actors don't do that. If that's all you are, it's just simply an actor. Now, he has published Bruce Lee's fighting method, non-classical Kung Fu, and the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, which was done later. But he has these books published, and guess what? They're not on acting. They're not on his acting career. They are on martial arts. Number 2, every movie and television show that Bruce Lee appeared in featured him as a martial artist. No other character in his adult life. Every movie he was in, all of the 4 or 5 major movies that he embarked on, to include the television series Green Hornet. He was the Green Hornet's sidekick, Kato. What was Kato? Martial arts master. He played in Longstreet. What was he? A martial arts instructor. He played a scene in Marlowe with James Garner. What was he? A martial artist. Hitman. So, isn't that coincidental for him to be in all of these martial arts roles, and he's just simply an actor? Oh, he must be an actor that just loves being in martial arts roles. No, ladies and gentlemen, he was the real deal. He was a martial artist. That says a lot right there. So that's 2. Number 3, Bruce Lee taught other martial artists and celebrities, such as James Coburn, God rest his soul; Steve McQueen, God rest his soul; Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, NBA player; Jim Kelly, God rest his soul, martial artist; Chuck Norris, yes, he taught Chuck Norris as well; Joe Louis, God rest his soul, martial arts practitioner, great full contact fighter, Joe Louis. Bruce Lee was accredited by Joe Louis as being very instrumental in Joe Louis's winning many fights. But Bruce Lee was just an actor. But Joe Louis gave him credit for being a good martial artist, and he even said that Bruce Lee taught him certain things to help him in his competitions that helped him to win. But Bruce Lee's just an actor, right? Okay. He also taught Dan Inosanto, one of his students who also studied, Dan that is, he studied Filipino martial arts before he came to Bruce. Alright? And today Dan Inosanto has a school, Inosanto's Academy of Martial Arts, where he teaches what? Jeet Kune Do as well. And he also took a good friend of his, Jun Rhee, Taekwondo master, God rest his soul. Now, he was legendary, Jun Rhee. He was a student of Bruce Lee, and he taught Bruce Lee some things as well. But Bruce Lee was his instructor on some level, and very close friend and confidant. Now, all of those actors and martial artists that I just mentioned, do you think they were deceived into believing Bruce Lee was just an actor, and he was posing as a martial artist? That's to say that what they said about Bruce Lee had no credibility at all. But we know different, don't we? Now, I'm going to go to the next one. I think it's 3 or 4. There are Jeet Kune Do schools. Bruce Lee created the art of Jeet Kune Do, non-classical Kung Fu and so forth. He created Jeet Kune Do primarily for himself and his own liberation from the classical mess, so he said. But if he was just an actor, why does he have martial arts schools teaching Jeet Kune Do and Jeet Kune Do concepts and principles all over the world right now if he was just an actor? So this actor, so to speak, has deceived a lot of people, and they're teaching his fake martial arts called Jeet Kune Do. That doesn't make sense, does it? Bruce Lee was a martial artist, or he wouldn't have martial arts schools all over the world. All right. Dan Inosanto, as I said before, he has a martial arts academy where he does teach Jeet Kune Do as well, along with his Filipino martial arts. And there's another one on here. Remember the movie Enter the Dragon? That was Bruce Lee's baby. He had total control over it. He was in his best physical and mental conditioning. Unfortunately, he passed before he saw the results of the box office after he passed. But in the fight scene in the tunnel or the basement on Hans Island, Bruce Lee was entered into the Guinness Book of World Records as that fight scene in the basement scene being the greatest action film or scene out of any other action movies in the world. Not just martial arts, but action, period. It was the best action scene of any movie ever made to date. That scene in the basement where he started out fighting barehanded, then he went to the bow staff, and he went to the skirmish sticks, and then the nunchakus. That scene in the basement is in the Guinness Book of World Records. Now, actors don't get that kind of credibility and accolades for just acting. Bruce Lee was the real deal. Now, on top of that, I'm going to add one last thing. Bruce Lee, after many, many years of liberation or deliberation, Bruce Lee had erected to him a statue of him in China, in Hong Kong. Greatest martial artist of our time that we know of, who surfaced from among many other great martial artists. Let me make that footnote. Let me leave that in there, because there's those people who want to say, oh, you're saying Bruce Lee couldn't be beat. I've never said that. I said that Bruce Lee, and I'm saying it right now, Bruce Lee was the greatest martial artist of the 20th and the 21st century that we know of, that surfaced, that did not mind being in the public view. I'm not talking about the ones in the mountains. I'm not talking about the ones who chose not to be public. I'm talking about Bruce Lee, who chose to expose his art to the world. So, after all of these points that I just made about Bruce Lee not being an actor and being a martial artist, how can you debate and refute any of this information that I just showed you, just pointed out to you? And you can go further down the rabbit hole if you want to and pick out some other things that Bruce Lee has done to benefit the martial arts, not to mention that he had over 2,000 books on fighting of virtually every martial arts that's ever existed in his library. Over 2,000 books. Now, an actor doesn't collect books like that and then study and train and name an art after his training and his studies. Actors just don't do that. It would have to be someone who really is passionate about martial arts, who really loves martial arts, who's trained in martial arts, and who has a purpose of discovering self through martial arts. And that was none other than the legendary Bruce Lee.